So you are, Jake, closely following along with the Braves and what they're doing this offseason. We talk all about Ohtani. They are one of the teams on the short list that we've heard a good bit about. But then lately we hear they might not be as big of a player. But then you hear, okay, well, they're still in the mix. Ohtani to the Braves. How likely would you say that might be?
They're a really interesting dark horse. The thing with Ohtani and any team is that we don't know. We don't know anything about any of his preferences. The only thing we know is like he met with the Blue Jays yesterday,
Yeah.
right? That's it. And so like the Braves stuff is funny where it goes, oh, the Braves have interest. It's like, well, I hope so. Like, have you seen this guy? He's pretty good. Like, I hope they're interested in him. There was a tweet from the MLB on Fox account yesterday that cracked me up where it was like the Braves lineup with Ohtani in it.
Yeah.
And I think it just said thoughts. And like thoughts are that's good. Like it's not exactly like a contentious concept. You know what I mean? That cracked me up. It was like, yeah, dude, like Ohtani in the Braves lineup, which is the best lineup. They have, I think, the highest OPS plus ever. And then it's like, okay, let's add the MVP.
Yeah.
That's horrifying to think about. Is it likely? I don't know. Like the Braves have a very set budget that they work with. We don't know what that is, but because they're owned by a media company and not by an owner who goes by the whims of wanting to win in a given year, it's a much more set dollar.
Yeah.
Do they have enough room in their current payroll to fit Ohtani in? We don't know, but obviously they're interested. It's just like if Ohtani wants to play for the Braves, he would make it work, right? It's just how did the Braves find the cash flow?
Yeah. So what is they're clearly in, they're not out on Ohtani by any means. So that's also, to your point, holding them up a bit and making other moves. If they don't get Ohtani and Shohei goes elsewhere, what is their backup plan? Where do they shift their attention to the day Shohei signs with potentially another team?
So there are two big things on the Braves to-do list. One is to get another starting pitcher. So at present, it's Fried, Strider, Charlie Morton, Bryce Elder, and then kind of a mishmash of back-end guys. AJ Smith-Shawver is a top prospect who's really interesting. Alex Anthopoulos, the president of Baseball Ops, said that another top prospect, Hurston Waldrep, who is super interesting splitter guy out of the University of Florida, who's a first-round pick last year. He could see time in the bigs in 2024. That being said, they need another arm, especially because Fried is hitting free agency a year from now. And here's a good way to think about the Braves, right? If they haven't signed an extension, they're probably going to leave, right? Yeah. History has taught us this. And so a year from now, they're going to have to fill another spot. And so I think it's likely that they add a notable starting pitcher at some point during this offseason. Now, that could be through trade. It could be someone like Michael Wacha, right? Fits in that kind of rotation in that role. On a higher end, it would be Jordan Montgomery. They're definitely in on the Yamamoto mix, but I think the Mets will outbid them for Yamamoto. So that's one, is the starting pitching stuff. And then the second is the bench. The Braves were so fortunate last year that none of their position players spent any time on the IL. And so the depth wasn't tested. And that was the 14-game gap between them and the Phillies. Those teams were not 14 games of quality apart. We saw that in October. Right. It's just that the Braves stayed healthier and they were more consistent. They need to kind of refurbish the depth a little bit with some veteran pieces, whether that's Tommy Pham on a one-year deal or a versatile position player like Whit Merrifield fits in that lineup pretty good. But finding some more depth options for them is the other big on the to-do list.
Back to the starting rotation for a second. Dylan Cease, we heard potential trade with the Braves have had all the conversation about Dylan Cease. That's all we've heard this offseason. If he gets traded, Braves. Then as of recent, it's, well, maybe not. The Braves might be out there. And then you tell me, Jake, is it Dylan Cease to the Braves? Is that a possibility? Is it not? Are they in? Are they out? Where do they stand?
I think it's a possibility. I think the White Sox think they can get more elsewhere for Cease. Cease is super valuable, right? Because he has 2 years left on his deal. So if you trade for him, you don't lose him in free agency for another 2 seasons, compared to Corbin Burns and Shane Bieber, there's just 1 year. So the White Sox can get more back for him, even though he's coming off kind of an average season. And the Braves farm system, even though they've continued to develop dudes who get to the big league level and thrive, it's pretty barren. It's like a bottom five system. And so if you're the White Sox and you have Dylan Cease, you're trying to get a package from the Orioles, for instance, who have so many hitting prospects that you need instead of the Braves. Even if the Braves have a higher need, they don't have the same depth in farm system talent to trade from it. And so I think that's why it's taking like long enough, like the amount of time it's taken, because the White Sox are doing the due diligence to find a better deal than whatever the Braves could provide.
Thanks for watching. If you love flipping bats, swinging 3-0, or just talking ball, join us. Call us at 213-537-9339 with your questions. We have a weekly guest, and we have a lot of fun, so hit that subscribe button.